consciousness is creating our life experiences. We are creators. That's quantum physics. So I came here to experience, but I also came here because I can move around and create. You are a spirit, and you can never be disconnected from source. Nobody can disconnect you from source. I call this the television set. In other words, I'm receiving a broadcast, the Bruce broadcast. Bruce is not in here. We're not in here. We're receiving a broadcast because on the surface of your cells, there are antennas called receptors. I said, well, you got receptors. They're where on the surface, what? Eyes, ears, nose, taste, touch. They read the environment. Receptors read the environment. Well, there's a unique set of receptors that each individual has, and no two people have the same set. And they're called, interesting enough, self-receptors. The difference between us is just a set of receptors, and they're on the outside of the cell surface. I go, then where do you think the signal is coming from to go to these receptors? Not inside, outside. Each of us is receiving a different broadcast, a frequency, somewhere in the environment. And in the quantum physics term, we talk about energy fields. That's what they talk about. In spiritual terms, we talk about spirit, which is what? An energy field. That each of us has our own energy field. My identity is not built in, my identity is a broadcast. And when you're watching a TV and it breaks, we say, TV is dead. I go, yeah, it's not working anymore. Question, is the broadcast still there after the TV is broken? The answer, of course it is. How do you know? I said, get another TV, tune it to the station, you're back on again. The broadcast is here whether you're here or not. This is not I believe in spirituality. This is a mechanism of spirituality. I go, therefore, if I die, I'm still here as a spirit. All of a sudden, when I realize, oh my God, I'm a broadcast and a television set. And I said to myself, why have a body? Why not just be the spirit? My cells come up with a question. You ready? If you're just a spirit, Bruce, what does chocolate taste like? Our perceptions of our physical experiences, you know, anything from sight, smell, sound, touch, taste. Love is a feeling. That's physiology. Describe love. I can write an essay. What is love? Blah, 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 blah. But when you have a body, you can feel love. That's not a conscious thing. That is an experiential thing. The body is translating the environment into sensations which are broadcast back to source. So I came here to experience. People think you die and go to heaven. I go, no, you were born into heaven. Why? What's your vision of heaven? Well, here it is. You're the creator. Manifest it. People are so lost thinking, well, if I just be okay, I'll have heaven when I'm dead. And I'm going, no, I think you missed it, folks. This is heaven. Heaven is a way of life right here, right now for all of us. You are manifesting a life. Are you manifesting a positive life? Well, that's a choice. You want to manifest a negative life? That's a choice. But if you start manifesting, then the cascade consequences of that are going to manifest in the process. Because if you start to realize that most of your thoughts are negative, and this is not good enough, that won't work, blah, blah, blah. And I said, but that's a creative voice you're talking about right there. That voice is creating, and everything you just said is now part of your creation. We have to stop and be conscious just long enough to listen to these things. They flow through just continuously. You got to stop and just tune in and say, what am I thinking? There's a difference about having an intention versus doing an action. You can have all the thoughts you want, but until you start an action, they don't manifest. And that is the hardest part, because I can think, oh, I'm going to be wealthy. I'm going to be wealthy. And I say, what are you doing to get wealthy? No, I'm saying I'm going to get wealthy. I say, you didn't do anything. You got to do something to take the step to make it start. So it's like on idle, all our thoughts spinning, idling. Not till you throw it into gear is it going to manifest something. And this becomes really important, because how many people think, yeah, I'm going to plan this. This is what I want. Yeah, this is what I want. I go, when are you going to do it? You never started? It's not gotten off the ground. A while back, I would have been what loosely called manic depressive. I'd be happy most of the time, and then something would go wrong, and then the next thing would go wrong, and I would go in a spiral, and then it got worse, and I get down and be totally depressed, giving myself self-talk, bad criticism, not smart enough, not good enough, whatever. And I was in my lab doing something, and it required so much work to get this done. So I did it the first time, went to crap, and it's like, oh God, it's got to spend 2 more hours putting it all back together again, weigh out all this stuff, do everything, get it ready. I ruined it the second time. I got real mad at myself, and I went into that, you idiot, you can't do anything right. And I hear a voice just right out in front of me somewhere, right out there, and that voice says, don't you have anything better to do than to listen to this? It was my higher self looking at me, going through this and saying, don't you have anything better? And I laughed. That's kind of funny. I said, sure, I'd rather go see a movie. And there was a newspaper. I picked it up, found a movie, went to the movie, came out clear, no more depression. After a number of times, not too many, I never got depressed again because made a habit that if I would start in that direction, the habit was go do something else. Because then the habit of not going there anymore, starting to realize, this is why am I thinking this negative thing? Turn around, make a positive statement right now. And just a repetition of this behavior become habitual. And habits are great. Why? No effort. I love habits. Why? You don't even have to think about them. They do it automatically, you know? So if you put in these really great habits, you can walk through the day and think anything you want, do anything you want. And your habit, if they're good ones, will just guide you perfectly through here without even being involved with thinking. That's the game. The game is, what is heaven to you? Then program that's your life. And then guess what? The 95% of the day manifesting heaven while you're not even thinking about it. The brain is an information processor, a computer. It's exactly what it is. Now that we have so much familiarity with the silicon-based computer, this carbon-based computer in here has the same fundamental mechanisms. They both use the same thing. Not until I put programs in the computer can I use the computer. The idea is in the last trimester of pregnancy, a fetus brain lights up, screen's on, but it can't do anything until programs come in. Your life, 95% is coming from the program. It's the programming in the first 7 years of your life that you're going to run that life from. Watch your father, watch your mother, watch your family, community. You're observing them like a video recorder. And whatever behavior they're experiencing, you are downloading that kind of behavior. Good stuff gets downloaded, bad stuff gets downloaded. About 60% of the downloaded programs, behaviors that are in that subconscious are disempowering or self-sabotaging or limiting beliefs we acquired from other people. I was programmed about relationships by observing my father and my mother. Well, they had dysfunctional relationships. So what do you think I downloaded? Dysfunction. Yeah. So my conscious mind goes forward and says, yeah, I want to have a great relationship. I get into it. My subconscious mind steps up and says, so this is how we do a relationship. Uh-oh, game over. Right. Why? Because I didn't see the negative behaviors that I was putting out. My partner, potential partner, saw them and gave them cause for alarm. I don't think I want to be with this guy. I pushed them away, you know, and I changed that. I was nearly, 45 years old, 40 some years old. And I had 0 quality relationships for all that life. Right. I changed the program. And within a couple of years, I'm now with my partner, Margaret. We've been living a honeymoon for 26 years. I'm living heaven on earth. I published my books. I'm living completely in the middle of crazy land. I still live happy every day. Another day for fun. Another day for being in love. It was great, and it still is. But if I didn't change the program, that would never have been part of my life at all. I would have been my whole life struggling.
This is a question I ask everyone towards the end, Bruce. It's called the 3 truths. It's a hypothetical question. Many years away, you get to live as long as you want, but it's the last day. And you have created heaven on earth. But for whatever reason, you've got to take all of your work with you, all of your books and this interview, and it's all gone to another place. But you get to leave behind 3 truths, 3 lessons that you would share with the world. And this is all we have to remember your message by. What would be those 3 truths for you?
Number 1 empowerment is you're not a victim of your heredity, you're the master of your genetic activity. And therefore you can manifest whatever you want to program at this point. You're free to change the program. Number two is then also expressing the fact that you're a spiritual entity. First of all, you can't die. And that all of a sudden takes away all the fear that most people have. Fear is death. So my life experiences here influence my spiritual field. Karma.
Interesting.
Karma. So A, we are spiritual entities. You can't die. And you came in here for what reason? To have heaven on earth. And that's why we're here. We didn't come here to struggle, to fight, to try and, scratch out an existence. And we didn't come here for that. We came here for experiences. So the third one is this: manifest heaven on earth. Most people say, yeah, I can change, but it's not working. They said, think positive, and I thought positive, and it didn't work.
It's not working, yeah.
No, because the idea was you can think all you want, but the problem is while you're thinking, you're actually playing the negative program. So thinking about being positive is actually creating the negative problem because you're not paying attention when you're thinking about being positive.